in the meantime talk about what President Trump's opinion has been on NATO. Because time and again, President Trump has not been very happy with NATO and its opinion there on the war and the escalation with Iran. And President Trump, however, says that he will always remember with NATO not cooperating with the United States, saying that NATO wasn't there. It was never there. He's come out to call certain countries to be as cowards as well, and NATO for President Trump is actually paper tiger. So let's take a look what President Trump has been saying, that all right, this is on part of Pope Leo as well, where President Donald Trump has also taken on the Pope, because Pope has now been saying that he's not very happy and he's not afraid when it comes to the US administration. But this seems to be on the part of NATO when it comes to President Trump, that he has repeated his disappointment with the NATO countries, and he says that he will forever remember when it comes to NATO not giving that kind of support or extending that kind of support when President Trump in particular had asked certain countries there. And of course, when it comes to diplomatic standoff that has also been taking place now between Italy and also Israel, well, President Trump has also been calling Giorgia Meloni, that saying that she doesn't have that kind of courage to support this war, this conflict that has been taking place in West Asia. Now, Donald Trump says that NATO wasn't there for us. They won't be with us in the future as well. So what is now been hinting at? Because there was a very strong possibility that the US may pull out of this gathering as far as NATO is now concerned. But this is time and again when President Trump has expressed his disappointment with NATO, certain countries that he had, outrightly called them to be as cowards. And he had, in a way, also talked about NATO to be a paper tiger. So US-NATO relations that still, are under a lot of strain. And President Trump has now slammed NATO again, saying that they weren't there for us and they will not be there for us in the future as well. Well, Srinjoy, NATO and President Trump, time and again, such kind of statements continue to come out from him.
Yes, he's made a lot of statements about his NATO allies, about the French, the Germans, the British. In fact, he sort of unfavorably compared Keir Starmer with Winston Churchill, with the Spaniards, and more recently about the Italians. Now, what he said about the Italian Prime Minister is actually a personal attack. Now, does one prime minister or president of a country say this about a prime minister or president of another country, particularly if it's an ally? That's slightly unusual because it doesn't happen. But it has, because Italy, Spain, both countries really said that, look, we are not happy with the idea of America using Italian ports or Spanish ports or airfields to move stuff or troops towards the Iran conflict. So that's something the Italians were very careful about.
Yes.
The Spaniards
because
even more
Trump
so.
Has now taken head-on when it comes to several countries in Europe, NATO countries as well, whether be it Spain, whether be it France, and now recently, as far as his comments is now concerned, on Prime Minister of Italy as well. For NATO, his stance, however, has been continuous, and this time he's given another statement saying that NATO was never with us and will not be with us in the future as well. Paper tiger is something what President Trump has now labeled NATO as. We'll head into a very short.